Greetings and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is August 21st. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. Just plugging along here. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm fabulous. I am in my Dratty, ad read off the top, Dratty Pima cotton here because you know what?
The weather is broken.
63 degrees. It was like below 60 this morning when I woke up. Took a call from All Business Pete, our colleague here. I was like, I can't stay inside this is a call I can do outside. I went and I walked around while on the phone with him for an hour. Just glorious here. So I'm doing well. Just I may only be a 2-day spurt here as we go back to 100 degrees and humidity and finish out the drill in August, but I'm loving it right now. How about you?
You know what I wore this morning?
What?
The Andy hoodie.
Oh, you did?
I was out being a camera boy, drone boying. I was up in the mountains, 6,500 feet of elevation, much like you're hearing the tourists dealing with
Castle
this week.
Pines. Yeah, they're just flummoxed, the launch monitors that they have, that takes them an extra 5 seconds to figure out how far the ball goes.
It was 53 degrees out when I started my little adventure. And it was Andy hoodie. It was great. This is a fall item that you can purchase now, I think.
SGS30. The promo code is SGS30 at bdratty.com. Is that up there in their layering section?
Let's see. I'm pulling it up.
I'll tell you what. I got a little assignment for you, and it ties in well with the Andy hoodie.
All right.
I live in the swamp in the DC area. And so this is not a political thing, not political at all. Some lobbyist friends are in Chicago this week. That doesn't mean they're down. They're just lobbyists. That's there for work. And they're sending me pictures of their Andy hoodie with the little Far and Sure logo at checkout. And the Andy hoodie must be in stock at Chicago Golf Club. And so I'm wondering, I asked him, to use SGS30 at checkout. He said it didn't work at Chicago, apparently, but it will work at bdratty.com. I'm wondering, is Chicago, these fat cat lobbyists, they get a week in Chicago, say it was Republican. Milwaukee was Republican, probably a pretty good one. I think Chicago probably has them up. Seems like he said he was going somewhere else, Bobolink or something today. Pretty good week.
It's not very DNC of
I was going to say the nominee can't go there, apparently. But I need you to call around and see which club. You got the vast network. Yeah, I'm sure there is just swamp Beverly. Creatures going all over the place. Why? Because of proximity?
Proximity, a lot of political ties. It's been part of the Chicago machine for years. I would guess Beverly is the hot ticket item this week.
Okay.
It is.
I just think it's fascinating. What do you do all day? And then you go and listen to some I don't know, you're slapping hands.
I think if you went to some smaller Midwest cities, you'd wonder, what do we do all day? What do we do all day?
Get the hell out of here.
But guess what? They're in one of the greatest cities in the world. So there's tons of stuff. There's tons of stuff to do. You could get lost. You could get lost in the city. And, I'm sure some people are thinking, well, they might get robbed, they might get mugged, they might get shot. Yeah. That's the common denominator with any commentary, any uneducated, ill-informed commentary around Chicago centers around that. But I don't think that in any neighborhood you have to worry about.
So you think much. Beverly is the one? But if I'm there, it seems like there's probably guys trying to line up tee times there, and this is not political. Again, this person is just a lobbyist. He probably did the same for the Republican one as well.
Lobbyists play both sides of the coin, huh?
they go. Whoever got the juice or whoever could have the juice, I think they got to play all the angles. Essentially, is what I understand.
I bet the lobbyists they go to one side. They say, "This is what I'm hearing from this side." Get those people to open up, and then go back to the other side and say, "This is what." Who do you think would be the best lobbyist of the tour players? We know
Billy
that.
Boy,
we know
maybe?
that. Well, no, I think he's too loud.
He butters you up, though. He has you feeling like he had who just won Wyndham? He had Aaron Rye feeling like he was the king of the universe there for an hour. at the end. He can butter you up, make you feel like you are, I don't know, and reciprocating kind. Maybe who do you think it should be?
I think Adam Scott would be a great lobbyist.
Mix of sort of power, soft power,
sternness, like high likability factor. Yeah. You know, everybody's picking up the phone for Adam Scott. Like the way he talks, he's got a, he just is, he's convincing. Yeah. I don't know if he's smart or not. He seems smart. I think he's smart. Like if he said something, I'd be like, okay, I'm probably on board with this.
That's a good one. I was thinking Pepe Peter, but he might be like an anti-lobbyist, though. He might be like he might turn people off with his pep.
Too much to be a lobbyist.
Too much pep, too full court press, too on you at that point. Like, let me be. Anyways, that's our little tie-in.
That's Lobbyist Minute.
That's Lobbyist Minute. I just thought it was fascinating. What's going on with the Chicago golf scene this week?
There's a lot going on with the Chicago scene. You know, everybody's getting Bears buzz. There's the city. The city hasn't seen this kind of excitement level since Matt Fitzpatrick's U.S. Open win at Brookline. The city hasn't been this buzzing since they painted the river purple.
You know what wasn't buzzing? The Memphis ratings. Down big to see Hideki on Sunday, per Josh Carpenter. Down over 1 million from last year's the sweaty swan song of Lucas Glover. The Swamp Ass brought all the viewers to the yard in that last year at 3.2, and then this year is 2.2.
It's so true. It became an internet sensation. The Swamp
Get out
Ass.
of here.
I'm serious. Everybody was tweeting about it. It probably drove people to watch
I think it was just up against it wasn't like Caitlin Clark on, and there was a preseason game on, and you had Brooks versus Rahm. I don't think that
those ratings were terrible. There's 163,000 people or something like that watched that. That's
it's not putting a dent in anything. You see that article today? Saudis are done spending big money outside of Saudi Arabia. Who knows? Everybody's trying to read the tea leaves. Like, who knows? But Live is not garnering the ratings you'd want right now on television, in my opinion. But Memphis is way down.
If
Go ahead.
Say Live just folded up shop tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. If you're the tour, can you put the genie back in the bottle, lower purses back, and maybe make the business model a little more sustainable?
What do you mean? You think like $30 million isn't justifiable for a $2.2 million rating, a 2.2 million rating in Memphis in August?
God, I hope. I don't hope this. I root for golf, but there would be something if just the whole playoffs just tanked. You know, just I just want things that can create change in this playoffs situation. I want golf to thrive, and I don't think this long term allows it to thrive. This playoff. I think this is genuinely bad for the game.
There is a scenario, where Live may not survive or may not last beyond, I don't know, another year or two. Maybe the framework agreement just outlives Yasser, outlives Jay, just outlives us all. The idea of the framework agreement without ever a consummation of those who wanted the framework agreement being around anymore. It's possible that happens, but it does seem like the toothpaste is out of the tube with the tour. And one person, or actually several people, noted it's kind of insane. I don't want to bag on this too much at the top, but let's face it, we are. It's kind of insane that probably literally the most important consequential week of the entire PGA Tour season, and I define that as just PGA Tour, is Memphis. And it's TPC Southwind. It's the 70 to 50. Several people might like, if this is going to be your most important week, I get it because it's FedEx. And that seems to be the only compelling reason right now, because FedEx said so, and FedEx is a sugar daddy. But the most consequential, I think Golf Channel had a headline that said the most consequential week of the PGA Tour season is now Memphis because of everything that comes with that 50 cutoff. And I mean, if that's like the USGA taking the U.S. Open to, I don't know, just deciding to play it in the same place because, Lexus wants it there. And they don't care necessarily about the golf course or whatever. Some sponsor, Cisco, wants it there. We love Cisco, as you know. We're going to be keeping our eye on the APGA Invitational this weekend.
It's the event of the week. Is the APGA Cisco Invitational. The event of the year, though, is the Women's Open.
The Women's Open. So that's a big week for events of they got a concurrent right now.
Only week of the year that happens.
It's crazy though that it's been boiled down to what people are calling, quote, the most consequential week of the year is Memphis TPC Southwind.
You know what it would be?
100 degrees.
It'd be if the NFL played the Super Bowl in Memphis. There's your comparison. They'd be like, why are we here? Why are we here? Well, FedEx is here, and that's why we're here.
Or they did it. What's like a big AWS or something?
There's no course of significance. There's no golf history of real significance there. There's no reason to be in Memphis other than FedEx. And
it's interesting.
And it's a huge detriment to the product. It's August.
I mean to rehash this, take another beat of the dead horse, but I got several messages. Like when you think about it, I started reading the headlines, most consequential week of the year. And they're putting it that I get it. Maybe it's Memphis once every 5 years or 3 years or something. It's crazy what has happened.
I was chatting with a player, and I was just like, I bet you just can't wait to get to Denver. And he was like, yeah, I cannot wait to get to Denver. Like, think about that in the grand scheme of things. Like, you have a 3-week playoffs, 3 weeks.
In order to amount of money.
This is not trying to bag on Denver at all. But Denver, I would love to be in Denver in August. I would love to be there. But in 3 weeks, 3-week pinnacle of your season, that Denver is this like extraordinary highlight of the calendar. Like the reprieve. Like, that's bananas.
We've offended all of West Tennessee and Colorado.
I am not offended Colorado at all.
Okay.
But if you think about the playoffs, like, it's crazy that Denver, like, everybody this week, the whole discourse this week is like, oh, it's just great to be in Denver. Well, yeah, of course it's great to be in Denver when the other options are Atlanta and Memphis in August.
Good cities in their own right. Memphis has a lot of character. Doesn't have a lot of great golf courses.
Yeah, it'd be
separate
you know what?
deal.
October Memphis event, sign me up.
Yeah.
October Atlanta event, sign me up. May Atlanta event, awesome. May Memphis event, great. August, no. Just no.
For the most consequential, for the biggest of, when it matters. Anyways,
August Denver event, awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. It gets hot there. Those afternoon thunderstorms coming off the mountains every day, essentially. But it's cool. It's a little more. It's not like Memphis. So
should we put a bow on Denver since we're here?
Sure.
Before we get to the event of the year,
what do you want to do? FedEx Cup.
I got a FedEx Cup fact of the day.
Okay. What do you got?
I went pretty deep on this.
Oh God.
I believe that Eric Cole is the only player in the top 300. That's how far I got in the 5 minutes I spent.
Presumed fact of the day. All right, we're back to presumed fact.
In the top 300 of the minor league tour career money list to make it to the BMW, and now he's done it back-to-back years.
That's incredible.
The only other players that I could see really that were even like, I think have made the FedEx Cup playoffs were Ben Silverman. I don't know if he ever made it. I don't think he did. Brett Stegmeyer, I think he made it once or twice.
Just by playing every week, you get enough points.
And Ryan Armour, king of the mules.
Oh, King Mule.
King Mule.
He's struggling lately. Ryan Armour.
Ryan Armour might be back on the minor league tour.
That's a great FedEx Cup fact of the day. Eric Colt. Speaking of mules, did you see the latest report? We're just going to knock out the PGA Tour news right now before we get to the women. The advisory council voting. This may be moot by the time this gets posted, but they're voting apparently. Or Adam Schupak, the mule whisperer himself, spoke to somebody that might be involved with the meeting. Says the changes in eligibility. Lashley's not allowed to talk. He's lower OWGR than Luke Clinton. He's not allowed to speak for the mules anymore. He has to put a sock in it. Probably Ryan Armour too, for being candid. Changes in eligibility could reshape the tour, which first implemented the all-exempt tour for the top 125 in 1983. You have to get it done for 26. 25 is baked in, but guys need to know what they're playing for. The idea being discussed is shape the schedule so the best players continue to play against each other with the top 50 signature events, but also allow exempt players to have their fair shake at keeping their card and making that top 50. Isn't that what the next 5 and swing 10 are right now? I don't know. Lanto, he recalls Lanto. You can't have an article like this without citing Lanto.
That's right.
I
think Lanto might be King Mule now.
I think he is. King Mule, Lanto Griffin.
Ryan Armour, all he said was he just coined the term mule. Lanto has taken the ball and run with it. Ryan Armour's the center. He snapped the ball.
Yeah. Lanto's reading the coverage, making the plays.
He might be the offensive coordinator.
So Lanto talked about to I think Schupak in a prior discussion, reducing tournament sizes to 120 players. And so to do that, they would reduce the number of players exempt to 125 and perhaps go all the way down to 100, reducing it by 5 each year. So 5 years from now, you'd be down to 100 even. 125 next year, or 26 to 120 and 27. But the reason for this is kind of startling. It's become a growing concern that field sizes are causing too many occurrences of being unable to make the cut on Friday night. So what do? Pace of play, maybe speed it up. No. Reducing field sizes seems to be the answer here. And to reduce field sizes, they think, they might be able to get some cuts in on time. So you have fewer exempt players. Full field now becomes something that's not 140 whatever or 156 in the most extreme case. So they may reduce full exempt status, but this I don't get. While fewer playing opportunities may be a tough sell to full membership, the trade-off may be increasing the field size at signature events from 70 to give more players a chance to play in the big money elevated FedEx Cup point events, and the PAC may approve this. So they want to shrink the overall exempt.
I love the bargaining chip.
But increase the size of signature. So what does the signature even mean anymore? If it's just basically 95% eligible players are in it.
Can I just say this? I'm on board with both of these. Both of these changes. I think it's going to be unpopular. Everybody's going to think I was going to yell about this. I'm on board with both of these changes. I think it makes all aspects of the tour better.
So the mules or the exempt mules can play every week. Ideally, they have the stars just all showing up to the signature events because they're more money and they're scheduled to their favor around majors and things like that.
And more mules get into signature events.
Well, that's
every once in a while. There's a meaning to having a fully exempt card. It gives you more of an advantage to get into the signature events if you haven't gotten in. I'm all for increasing the value of a tour card because right now there are 250 some players that claim they are PGA Tour members and they aren't.
Yeah.
There's way too many guys with status. And if you lower the amount, I think the next big step, rip off all the exemptions. Rip out every exemption. Like
Russ
no more
Cochran.
no more 2-year exemption, 500 cut exemption, out of here. Career money exemption, out of here. Like
major medical is a little tricky one there. Maybe you bring in more of a cutthroat doctor.
I just
rub
found
some
out,
dirt on it and get out there.
My dad was in the Navy, and he's thinking about taking this freedom ride. Have you heard about it?
Is it the planes?
Yeah, you get on, like, they charter you a plane if you're a veteran, and they take you to DC, all expenses paid, with, like, you can bring one other person. I think we need to start calling the Russ Cochran the 500 made cuts. These are all freedom rides. It's like...
Wait. I would suggest the veterans, like, maybe do that freedom ride, though.
Yes,
right?
They are do it.
Okay. All right.
But the tour, I don't think just having years of service on your belt are worthy of spots in tournaments.
All right. So let's take it down.
My dad deserves to go on his freedom ride.
Yeah, well, Russ might suggest he deserves a spot in the Zurich Classic at 65.
Maybe we give every tour player over a threshold, they get one freedom ride. One. And you can't, once you've used your one freedom ride, you never get another one.
Larry Nelson gets 4 because he's an actual veteran. He's a major winner and a real veteran. Multiple freedom ride exceptions.
So anyways,
so those are your eligibility issues. Go ahead.
To me, this makes signature events more competitive. More players, like more world-class players in a field, makes for a better tournament. It also, if you go to 100 in signature events, here's my other big thing. If you go to 100, do you know what's coming back?
Cuts. Yeah.
Cuts are back
for a second there.
If you go to 100 people, these are two of my biggest grievances. And if you go to 120 player fields, way less tour cards, which is great thing. I would love if they went to 120 and they cut it down to 100 exempt players. If you had qualifiers, like 25 person qualifiers, like where 25 people got into the event, that'd be sick.
It's going to be interesting because you got a Euro Tour mouths to feed now. It's just interesting how they narrow it down here. So,
I'll tell you what, those
additional events.
Euro Tour boys are hungry boys. They're the ones that showed out this year.
They did. They more than, with their opportunities, more than proved their mettle. All right, might as well just put a bow on this. Schedule for the week: BMW Championship, Castle Pines Country Club, Castle Rock, Colorado. The oldest non-major championship on the PGA Tour. I guess that's what it's called. Moves to Denver for the first time since
ridiculous.
The oldest non-major. Hey, could you name the last 5 quote-unquote Western Open winners?
Oh, you got
could you do it when you were like 16 and you were going to Cog Hill? I bet you could just rattle off 5 in a row. Can you name the last 5 BMW?
So you've got Rahm. Last year, you've got Cantlay beat Bryson that one year.
Caves.
Let's see. You got.
Are you looking it up right now?
No.
Okay.
You got. You've got Bryson. You got who was last year?
Bryson
year
didn't win.
Who was Cantlay. Bryson. Where was it last year? See, this is the problem. You don't even remember where it was. Last year,
you were at it for a day.
Oh yeah, BMW.
Olympia.
It was at Olympia. Who won last year? See, I can't remember.
The great 9s of the season. Victor Hovland.
Oh yeah.
Remember he comes in.
Mr.
So this
August.
is what I like. It goes Hovland, Cantlay and Wilmington, Cantlay and Caves.
Tiger almost won it one year at Aronimink. Who won that year?
That was 7. That was 18. That was
the start of this podcast.
Keegan, I think, won. I think Keegan won that. You have JT at Medina, Rahm at Olympia, Cantlay at Caves, Cantlay at Wilmington, and Victor Hovland last year.
Double Cantlay.
Yeah, the playoff P. That's why he didn't come by that nickname empty with nothing. So have it. I don't know. This seems like this event has lost a little bit of its luster. It's just, maybe we're just idiots and don't have any good memories anymore, but it's bouncing around too much, and the memories are more fleeting, I would say. So
you think the best FedEx Cup podcast in the world would be able to rattle that off? I'm sorry, I have to apologize. How about when they go to Liberty National and they go to one of the old sites of a different playoff event?
I mean, just words, location have no meaning. History has no meaning. Nothing. It's just a fun house, that we live in with the PGA Tour.
Have I told you the unsubstantiated rumor on the Liberty National? Did I ever say?
Yes, it was like a 9/11 families thing.
It was part of the deal. Part of the deal to get the 9/11 families support during the live negotiations. Or the live upbringing,
like the fallout.
To get the 9/11 families on board with backing the PGA Tour.
But what's the carrot for them? Like you can come, you get free tickets, or there's an event.
There's some sort of tie in there
to watch some.
Maybe
that's FedEx Cup.
What if that's where the charity dollars go?
Sell out your principles and what you stand for. Why you're mad? Well, you could come watch, Adam Schenk try to battle into the top 30. What? I don't understand the quid pro quo there.
Who are our bubble boys? Who's got the most pressure?
I don't know, but Castle Pines is a Nicholas on top of a mountain. We'll see. The ball will go far, and that's
There's so much Castle Pines buzz.
Yeah. I was reading the Golf Digest rankings thing today.
Augusta National of Colorado, I saw.
Well, Augusta of the mountains. It's like, what are we like? We could just call it like Augusta of the Great Plains.
Most ridiculous. I saw something comparing it to Augusta National.
County.
Yeah, it's just like
what are we doing?
Just because you get paid to do something doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to embarrass yourself. Is all I'm going to say.
There's plenty of reasons. Yeah, absolutely. Like the APGA Invitational becoming event of the week, while the AIG Women's Open becomes event of the year. We didn't embarrass ourselves on that one. Threaded that needle perfectly, in my opinion. Yeah, Castle Pines. A lot of Castle Pines content. We'll talk more about it Friday, as they're already out to 20 under and hitting it 700 yards off the tee.
Do you think they're going to struggle with elevation? Do you think they're going to be
breathing?
No, playing the golf ball. How far it's going?
No, I think they have launch monitors. They push on. They go to the range, and they're good within a few minutes. I don't know. I mean, Arnold Palmer was playing here in 1960. I think they figured it out.
Remember this? Like they'd struggle with a rollback though.
Well, yeah. Take years to figure out their equipment.
5% off. So just keep that in mind when you watch this week. That's my thing to watch.
The conditions change every week. Like the air's heavier. It's wet. Like I don't understand. Whatever.
Hey,
now we have elevation.
We got to get to the Women's Open. We're
AIG Women's Open.
Who's your
event
pick?
of the
Who's
year.
Your pick? It's
for
Wyndham
BMW?
Clark week. Wyndham Clark week.
I'm going to say Wyndham Clark. I'll put on a Broncos jersey, a Bo Nix jersey as he's walking up the 18th fairway to collect his Western Open championship.
Who did I take last week, PJ? Did I take Scotty?
I think you did. Scotty's a good pick again, if you can believe it.
I think you ended up at Ludwig last week.
No, I didn't. I saved Ludwig.
Oh, I forgot. You reset the whole game with 3 weeks left. Yeah, you took Scotty then.
His name doesn't matter anymore. Has no meaning.
Well, since I took Ludwig last week, or Scotty last week, I'll take Xander this week.
All right.
Going out on a limb.
All right. Playoff P, though, in the elevation, hot, cold, or indifferent. He'll be dialed up with his B Dratty. And you can be too.
SGS 30.
Yeah, we've already shouted at the top. Andy's getting his Andy hoodie. It could be layering season. I'm in the cotton polo, which is all-time classic. I legitimately would say this if they were an advertiser or not. They've been great friends of the program, good people behind the company who supported a lot of our work. You've supported them in kind over the years. But as shoulder season approaches, whether it's an Andy hoodie named after my co-host here, and I have to say, a good-looking piece. You got the quilted little deal going on. I like it. Use the promo code SGS30 at bdraddy.com, and that will knock 30% off as you check out. AIG Women's Open, event of the year at the Old Course at St. Andrews. Teeing off, let me get the official tee times here. That's on USA Network. I want to be clear on that. We're going to USA Network here, so you can terrorize your kids with SVU content again. That is 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on USA Network on Thursday and Friday, then 7 to noon on Saturday and Sunday, with a finish on NBC from 12 to 2 at the Old Course. That's the LPGA or LET, whatever it is. The RNA is hosting it, the AIG Women's Open at the Old Course.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What hole are you most excited to watch the women play? And what player storyline are you most excited about? Like, what storyline are you watching the most?
It's a good question. I think, I mean, this is such a default. I think there's a lot of interesting storylines, players. I think Nelly Korda and the way she sort of spit the bit here is really interesting to me after winning 6 times in a row. She will be one. I wouldn't say she's the top. I think Lydia Ko, it's been 8 years now since she won the ANA. Then the ANA has played good golf recently on top of the gold medal, just aside from that.
Can Lydia Ko win a major?
It's an interesting question. Is she in the Hall of Fame now? Is she just going to put her feet up and then not really compete anymore? Is she just done now that she's in the Hall of Fame?
She should go to the Hall of Fame game next year.
I think the Lauren Coughlin story is really interesting. She's way up there for me.
I asked you for one. I was going to get my one. I have one. Sitting here, take it hogging the 3.
Chuck Hull with her cigarettes. She's got that going. She's played well in the Scottish, has played well at the Open. The Women's Open. Do you have one? I have a hole.
What's your hole? You go for
it. 18. Kind of interesting.
Neat hole. Consequential hole.
For the men, it's kind of a par 3, right? Par 3.5. I was reading a John Huggan article this morning that had really interesting. It was with Grant Moore, Moir, who's the RNA's quote unquote setup guy, who was quite honestly had some pretty candid comments, like sort of laid bare, like what they can't do for the men, like obvious stuff. We all see it and know it and watch it. But, in a person in official capacity admitting like all the stuff they can't do at the greatest course in the world when the men play, that he's excited about doing this week. One comment he had about 18 is, in the right weather, the ball does go a mile, but is likely we'll see players hitting quote unquote proper wedge shots into the green. We're going to use the same tee as the men use. They'll obviously hit it up there. It's not going to be a big approach shot, but you actually maybe have to deal with the Valley of Sin. You have to figure out where to place your wedge shot. You have to quote unquote, to use Grant's term, proper wedges. So I think 18 is kind of interesting as if it plays out the way he's talking, illustrative of the dichotomy between what the men's game has done to some of these great courses and designs.
To parlay off that, I think I'm just excited to watch a version of the Old Course that we only see really when women play the Old Course. And it's the version of the golf course that is going to amplify so much of the amazing human, as Gil Hance would say, human size contours. And they're the best contours for golf. And I think because the ball has to bounce in more with the firm turf and the lower trajectory, the design is really going to shine. And it's the reason to tune in, for if you're not really if you haven't watched a lot of LPGA golf or women's golf, if you haven't but if you're into golf courses, this is the week to tune in to watch how architecture and I don't want to say the right, but golf scaled for architecture interacts. So a hole that I'm really looking forward to is the second shot on 4. Long par 4. It's got a bump in the front of the green.
Human sized, almost. It's perfectly.
And for the men, like, they didn't really put the pin near it all the last Open, and it wasn't really an impact. But the thing with the women, where they have to land it kind of front edge a lot of times, this bump is going to impact like almost every approach shot, and I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. But cynical Andy will say Golf Channel probably won't have a camera over there, so
too early in the round.
Yeah,
USA Network.
Now that's cynical, Andy, but that would be, I would like camp out and sit there. It's an amazing par 4. You obviously want to play it up the right. That opens yourself up. That bump becomes like a gathering slot. So off the tee, if they get over to the right side, they're going to be at such an advantage. If they hit it over left, they're going to have to deal with that bump big time. It's going to be an amazing hole to watch.
Yeah, we'll get back to the players here. Let's do course though for a minute. Like you said, it does feel approximately more proper, and also shows you really what we've lost, obviously, with some of the way they have to set things up now. More in the article, and read Huggy all week. He'll be there. He knows the old course as well as anyone at this point. This was more, he said, it's more interesting setting up the course for a women's event. With the men, I know I'm going to the very back tees every single time on every hole. With the women, every tee on the course is potentially in play. There's a bigger range of hitting distances. So achieving that for every player is challenging. Like, you might have women who, Adidas shook, like people who hit it, I'm not saying it's prevalent or it's the median, but they do hit it in the mid 200s or even pushing lower 200s, depending on the wind. Achieving that for every player in the field is challenging. What we have found is that we're often using what might be called, quote, metal tees. Sometimes all you have to do is walk off the green and you're on the next tee, and it's refreshing to see some of these bunkers brought into play. I'm looking forward to seeing the women play the course in the way it was first envisaged. Again, this is a Scot, who's set up courses for years. One more interesting bit I thought I would let you know about. They are using the same clubs as men. The ball is spinning less. So we don't have the same emphasis on firmness that they do for the men. They, of course, want it to be firm. They that's not to say they won't be firm, but there's a limit to how firm we would want them to be for the women. Nowadays, for the men, there really isn't a limit at all. And I would parenthetically add, there's absolutely a limit on the PGA Tour. This is just an R&A spokesman saying there's no limit on how firm it can get for the men. This is just for their championships. So they're not looking for, and also one more that you said with pin positions, talk about for the men. Like, it's like, we're just looking for hard, like
tuck every
brutally
corner.
hard and like incredibly impossible. Those are the varieties. Finding 4, but for the women, they feel like they can use, because they're coming in with different clubs, they can use more of the greens, utilize more areas, not have to just go for the 4 toughest spots they can find each and every day. So, like, one of the greatest courses probably played closer to what you'd want it to play for a 4-day championship. Looks like it's going to blow. Looks like it could be kind of miserable. 50-mile-an-hour gusts, 40-mile-an-hour winds. May have a delay in there if it gets pretty sustained like that. But this is kind of what you want to see. It's exactly what you want to see. And we don't always get this for men, women, or otherwise on professional golf. So, event of the year for a reason. On the player side, one other bit I found interesting. It's kind of nuts. They do final qualifying on Monday, the week of.
Kind of like it.
It's kind of like old school, right? Like, play your way in on
right
Monday.
Into the dorm rooms.
Yeah. They were at Crail on Monday. I think they had 10 spots. And they're on the old course in the big dance on Tuesday. I thought that was an interesting little nugget at the start of the week. For me, it feels like there's just like it's the last major of the year, but it feels like there's so much, like so many careers and narratives could be changed. And that's often the case at majors. But right now, like Rose Zane, not had a good year at majors. Nelly Korda, we talked about the this sort of up and down nature of her season so far. Hannah Green, Yuka Saso haven't done well, like other players who've won big events and won multiple times this year in Green's case. Haven't done well at the Women's Open.
Can Yuka win outside the U.S. Open?
I mean, these are questions. These are like, what style works? You know, you have Charlie Hall, needs to win a major, does well in this style or has. Jin Yun Ko's playing well. Lydia Ko, she kind of should need to win another major. I'm not saying she's not a great player if she doesn't, but it feels appropriate that you have a really big major like this.
You got the Swedes. Stark and Grant, you know?
Yeah, there's some good players. And I think my pick is Minjee Lee. Done well at the Women's Open for the last 4 or 5 years now. Top fives almost every year, playing well again. I'm going with Minjee Lee to win this week. Do you have a pick for the Women's Open?
I mean,
at the old course?
I guess I'll go Lydia.
It's a good pick. Playing good golf.
All-around player, you know, can play good golf. Hasn't won a major in a long time. Yeah. Gonna see this. She's gonna break the drought. I mean, I think the Nelly thing is interesting. Just because, like, I feel a lot of parallels, obviously, beyond their commercial together, their Q10, the QI10 commercial together. But with Scotty, where, you know, you got it, like, they've both been like dominant. But before the Olympics gold, I kind of felt like Scotty needed one other thing to really put a bow on the year. And I think that Olympic gold really did that. I feel similarly with Nelly. Like, if you want to have, like, she had a really hot run, and winning this would make it a really, really amazing year. It's still an amazing year, but you could kind of say, well, it was just a really hot run, you know? That winning this would, you know, kind of put the bow on an entire year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive. This is the third time. The prior winners are like stalwarts of the game. Stacey Lewis, Lorena Ochoa are the two prior winners at St. Andrews. It's a massive opportunity for me, for a career, not for me personally, but in my opinion, for a career sort of, I don't know, signposts, plant your flag, and really top of the line on the Wikipedia page. So Nelly is who she's with, Lilia Vu. First 2 days, I had it just here a second ago in my notes. Nelly quarters with Charlie Hall and Lilia Vu. Other notables: Amy Yang, Hannah Green, Brooke Henderson. Minjee is with Lexi Thompson and Gemma Dryberg, the local favorite, as well as Katrina Matthews back playing too, with Carrie Webb, who's like, yeah, I'm playing because it's the effing old course. You know, she doesn't need to play golf anymore, but I'm coming. If there's an open, it's the old course. I'm playing. She's with Stacey Lewis.
Venues matter.
Yeah.
No matter what the PGA Tour tells you.
Prozane's with Georgia Hall and Ayaka Faru, one of the hotter players in the game right now. So some of your notables, we'll be watching that. Great coffee golf in the last major of the year before we get to the Cup events. So elsewhere on our schedule for the week, you want a good Euro Tour nugget, Andy? Some good DP World Tour scuttlebutt. We're going to the Danish Golf Championship. So you got all the Danes there, the Højgaards. Piss Bear's there. The Piss Bear Open, essentially, is what you call this.
What about Piss Bear Jr.? Is he there?
Who's that?
The young Piss Bear.
He's there. Who won the Ballylift and the amateur Ballylift and Jacob Skov, all those. They're all there. I mean, you play golf and you're a Dane, you're there. There's, I think, 15 in the field, hosted by Thomas Bjorn. First time that's at this event, or at this venue, Lubkar Golf Resort.
Game within the game. Piss Bear or Piss Bear Jr. this week? Who you got?
Going Junior. Although Piss Bear Senior played well, it showed well at the Olympics. I'm going Piss Bear Jr.
All right, I got
trying to make a name for himself in Danish golf. I love that. I was reading up on this course, designed by Robert Trent Jones II. It opened in 2008. It's comprised of a sand 9, a sky 9, and a forest 9.
Oh, I love this.
But this doesn't make sense. The Sky Course.
What do you think they did with the Sky Course? Is it up higher than every
this
other
is
one?
where I'm going.
Do you look up at the sky a lot?
The sky is located amidst the forest and water hazards, which means like you probably can't. I mean, if you're in the forest, why isn't the forest 9 in the forest? So the sky is in the midst of the forest and water hazards. The sand is laid out in an open landscape, and the forest course winds through a north residential area of the site. Why is the forest 9 in the residence and the sky 9 is in the forest? I don't understand this, but this is Danish Lubgar Golf Course for the Danish Golf Championship. First time host in the last event of the closing swing, one of 5 global swings on the Euro Tour as we go to the back 9, which is whatever.
If I was going to design a Sky Course, every green would just be an infinity green. So I'm just going to do 9 holes. Just like every green, you're just hitting up.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Like if I knew it was going to be called the Sky Course, I would do. Yeah. I would just build stuff that accentuated the sky.
Makes sense. You got a little more detritus from the tour over there. Nick Watney, of course, playing the Danish Open. Why not? With the 150 to 200.
Gotta find a place to play.
Bobbing up overseas. Euro Tour.
They got to stay sharp for the senior tour.
DP World Tour nugget of the day. So last week, they're in Prague. So they bounce over to Danish Open this week. It used to be the Made in Denmark and the Himmerland. Now it's just the Danish. Last week, they're in Prague. Andy, the long drive hole, they had a long drive contest, game within the game. And the winner of this would receive a year's supply of local Czech beer, Pilsner Urquell. A year's supply of Pilsner Urquell just for winning the long drive on a hole. So it's not a hole in one, nothing like that. A Finn won it, Lori Ruska, friends with Lori Markkinen, same spelling. So he wins it. Now, Andy, what would you guess is a year's supply of beer, Pilsner Urquell, for winning the long drive on the Euro Tour event last week?
How many?
Yeah.
All right, so 365 days in a year. I'm going to guess they got to go 2 beers per night. That'd be, 800, roughly 800, 725, 700 beers.
Nope, it was 365 beers. It's counted as a year's supply of beer. That's what was marketed.
I think I was thinking about it the right way.
That's what?
You saying that's not a year's supply?
I mean, that's like half a tailgate at a football game. That's 12 30-packs. That's not getting you anywhere. That's just,
you're a Midwesterner.
Just don't come.
You're a Midwesterner here. This is a true Midwest spirit showing. For my daughter's birthday party on Sunday.
Yeah.
10 a.m. kickoff for the party. 10 to noon.
Yeah.
Got a lot of beer. I got some high noons. How many do you think got drank at the party?
Not a lot. Under how many people?
I don't know, like 20 or so people. 20. Like 20 adults. 20
under
adults.
30 then. Under 30 total. I don't know. From noon, you said it was early?
10 to noon.
Yeah. Yeah, under 30.
Under 30?
Under 50. Whatever.
50?
What?
Well, this is the thing. As a Midwesterner, that's what I bought for. I bought for that. One beer was taken from the cooler, and it wasn't drank. He took it to go. He said, "I'm going to drink this later."
Oh my God!
Is it cool if I
would
take
say
this
no.
for
That's
later?
not okay. Just put it back. At that point, I don't want the seal broken.
I
just
had
keep
to lug the cooler
not
back
for later.
full. The cooler was just full.
I mean, 12 cases of beer is not a year's supply of beer. I'm sorry. That is just, don't market it as that. Just say,
cases.
I'll give you, what, 12 30-packs? Sorry. We bought 30 packs up in Massachusetts.
You don't buy Pilsner or Urquell or whatever it is in 30 packs like Busch Light.
Natural Light. I got it.
How about that? 0 beers consumed at the
That's
birthday
crazy.
Party. insane.
God, my wife always screams at me for how much I buy. It's like, what are you doing? Like, no, and then you realize you're 40. It's just like, this isn't the way the world works anymore.
We had a similar thing. We had like a town music fest thing. They have like a parade in our town, and then it goes into like a music festival. And we hosted people at our house at the morning of. Similar group. I bought so much beer. We had a mimosa bar, so we guess how many bottles of champagne were drank and how many beers were drank.
Fat cork champagne, I'm sure. More bottles of champagne than beers.
But how many?
How many people?
Similar people. Just say 20 adults.
Then say 6 bottles of champagne or something like that.
How many beers?
Like 3.
I mean, parade rolling into music fest.
Okay. All right. So
I want to say I'm included 15. In this count. My wife's included in this count.
15 to 20, but beers, I don't know.
12 beers. I think I drank 6 of them.
Yeah, sure.
And 1 bottle of champagne, which my wife estimated she drank most of it. It's insane.
Mimosa bar. I would take a cut at that. If people set that up for you, you'd go for it.
As a Midwesterner living in this, it's just like, I think people must think that we're like raging alcoholics.
No, you put a granola bar out. Well, make your own granola bowl. That shit's flying off the shelves.
Nobody ate any of the bagels either. That was the other thing.
Yeah, too many carbs. Yeah. It's just a good Midwestern. Just load up on those bagels. I had like
30 bagels.
God. Right to the gut. All right. Continuing on with our schedule for the week. We've done the BMW, the LPGA. On the Champions Tour, we have the Ally Challenge at Warwick Hills. Famous course where cited as 3-time won by Tiger Woods. That one there. He didn't win the Ally Challenge on the Champions Tour, but he won at Warwick Hills nonetheless. That is on tape to lay on Friday, 3 to 6 on Saturday, and 2 to 5 on Sunday. DP World Tour is coffee golf, as I mentioned, on Golf Channel, while the women's... I mean, can you just watch the Women's Open at the Old Course? If you're watching the Danish Golf Championship on Golf Channel and not on USA for the women, I don't know. You got something wrong with you. And then you get a little KFT action on TV this week. You have the Albertsons Boise Open, the grocery store up there in Boise. Been around for a while, I feel like, at Hillcrest Country Club in Boise, Idaho. That's 7 to 9 p.m. on Thursday and Friday, and 6 to 9 Saturday, 5 to 7 on Sunday. So you got a lot. You got an old course. You got a playoffs event. I guess that's it. Then you can get a little KFT coverage if you want it in Champions Tour.
What if this was all a sick trick and the women played at the Fairmont Old Course?
That would be diabolical. Somewhat apropos, maybe. I think that does it for our schedule for the week. I don't have a whole lot else.
But you got the APGA Cisco Invitational.
Friday. We're going to talk about that Friday, 23 to 26. We got that coming Friday. So we'll talk more about that at Spyglass, right? On Friday into Monday. So good APGA event.
I don't want to be a Liv hater here. I think I've been pretty down the middle on Liv in general. You get a Rom Koepka playoff and your ratings are 165,000.
Yeah. Not good.
Seems just
not good. There's something to be said for sort of the institutional advantages of being on CBS and NBC and the familiarity of even the FedEx Cup or Memphis. It's hard to break through even when you spend a lot of money and get big names. So they're not rating great.
Now, to be fair and balanced here, what's it say about the PGA Tour that you've got your big playoffs and it's not the best event this week? It wasn't the best event last week. And who knows if it'll be the best event the next week? Probably won't be. You got your playoffs, and none of the events are actually the best events in a given week.
It's fair. USGA is that, what do they have? The senior amateur at the honors? Yeah, I don't think that's on TV as far as I can tell. So, all right. I think that does it for our Wednesday episode. We will talk to you on Friday. We'll catch up with you then, have a little golf to chat about, maybe do some golf advice. Talk to you then.